Slave to our freedom.
The young brother was downright eloquent with his misinformed soliloquy. He said using nigger affectionately among ourselves takes the negativity out of the word, but that no other race of people can use it ever but us. And you thought that kind of reasoning existed only in the Twilight Zone. Then again, the Twilight Zone was a TV show, and the plight of Black America is tragic reality. Somebody said the revolution would not be televised. They didn't say anything about our devolution, which is well documented. You see it every day in our disrespect for one another. You can hear it in our sad excuse for artistry. We continue to squander our brilliant cultural legacy as musicians, poets, educators, and inventors. We call our women bitches and hoes. In a vivid exhibition of self-repulsion, we refer to ourselves as niggas. In our quest for acceptance and our relentless worship of bling, we have shared our sense of dignity and self-worth. It didn't used to be this way. Ironically, back when we fought for the opportunities we now abuse, that is when we stood tallest. Out of our torturous struggle for equality morphed a mighty pride and honor.
Slaves to our freedom.
But now our pride is built on hollow motives and aimless ambitions. Today, to identify our oppressor, the modern Black American need look no further than his own mirror. All of us aren't lost. Many of us know damn well that the emperor is butt naked. Every day we fight the good fight. But high praise for low thinking has taken its toll on generations. When so many are lost, there is enough blame to go around. When Martin Luther King Jr. prophesied the black man one day reaching the so-called promised land, he said,
I might not get there with you.
Lord knows, he didn't think we'd end up here.
Slave to our freedom.
Islam. In this electrified age, men are racing into this life without complete knowledge of where they are going or what the end will be. When selfishness, avarice, greed, and lust dominate their very being. When humanity in general is left at the mercy of those who have no mercy in them. It is truly wonderful and astounding to see one come into this mad human drama for the sole purpose of serving humanity, losing all sight on those things worldly and yielding absolutely to a cause that have yet been obtained This liking is of the prophet noble Drew Ali, who is serving humanity. At this time, I would like to recite the Morse Marking prayer, the source from which we draw our strength. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. First off, I'd like to rise to give praise to Allah. I'd like to give praise to Allah because it is Allah who is the Father of the universe, the Father of everything that ever was, is, and evermore to be. I would like to give honor to Allah's holy and illustrious prophet, noble Drew Ali, the founder of our address, the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'd like to give honor to the forerunner to the prophet, noble Drew Ali, Marcus Mosai Garvey. I'd like to give honor to Marcus Garvey because this brother had to have pure thoughts in order to pave the way for love. I'd like to give honor to our two flags, the flag of our origin and the flag of our birth, and honor to our charter that gives us the right to function in these United States and throughout the world without molestation of ridicule of any kind. I'd like to give honor to all of those and honor to all of you that have and will aid and assist us in this, our divine and gigantic mission, the uplifting of fallen humanity. I'd like to give honor to Temple 2 here in Portland, Oregon, for their wills and their ways. I'd like to give honor to Effort, because so many of us don't even try, and we'd like to give a special honor to this public media here to give us the opportunity, for giving us the opportunity to teach about the last prophet in these days and time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Praise Allah and honor the prophet. At this time, I'd like to read from the book of the Seven Seals, the one that they was talking about in Revelations, where none was able to open and read from its sacred pages the messages of purity and love. The chapter that I read this evening is chapter 17. Now, when you look at this Moorish Holy Quran, at the top of it, it says the divine instructions, and on the other page, it says from the Holy Prophet. So if these are divine instructions, we too are being divinely prepared, because these lessons that the Moorish American Muslims have is the same lessons that Jesus taught. The chamber that we go through is the same chamber that Jesus went through. So we want to talk about chapter 17. And the verse that I'm going to read in chapter 17, the chairman and I just finished talking about it, is verse 23. And it reads on this wise. It says, by mouth of gods and demigods, Allah spoke unto your fathers long ago. But now he speaks to you through perfect man. He sent his son Jesus in human flesh to save the world. And as I have lifted from the watery grave and saved these servants of tablets. Thus we just had a reading of the book of the Seven Seals that was divinely prepared by our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for our earthly and our divine salvation. Before I get into my subject matter, I want to reiterate something in this chapter that we read today. Because this chapter 17, in our Holy Quran questionnaire, Noble Drew Ali gave us 101 questions. And in chapter 40, question 44, he said, where did he teach? It was talking about Jesus. So he taught in India, he taught in Africa, and he taught in Europe. So when you look at chapter 17 in your Moorish Quran, you get the opportunity to see where Jesus taught in Europe. Now when he taught in Europe, and we talked about Jesus over here talking about the watery grave, there was two people. Their name was Claudia, and one name was Claudia and Julia. And Jesus made them his ambassadors to Rome. But these was Europeans. I want to reiterate that. Claudia and Judith was European because Jesus met with them on a Tiber near Rome. And he made them his ambassadors to Rome. So now let's look at this. We got to look at this because the prophet says it's not in flesh to think. And it's not in bones to reason. So now Jesus is in Europe teaching. And in Jesus in Europe teaching, he raising up some Europeans. He tells the Europeans of a heavenly kingdom and not an earthly kingdom. So now I want to get into this because it's important in what I have to talk about today. So now we're talking about European. We know the whole world was called Asia at one time. And there was a time when Europe did not even exist. So right now we're looking at a mindset. So when Jesus was in Europe, teaching the Europeans, making him his ambassador to Rome, he set up a brotherhood there. Jesus set up a brotherhood in Europe, telling them of a heavenly kingdom and not an earthly kingdom. So now, you got a lot of Europeans that live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But you got brothers and sisters that live just like you. And they not of this brotherhood that Jesus was teaching them. Who is your brothers and sisters? Because in the church, they talk about the body of Christ. And when they talk about the body of Christ, they're talking about those that's of that spirit. If they try the spirit, test the spirit, and see are you from the same spirit. So we want to talk about the spirit, so we ain't talking about this brother and this sister thing, because if you talk about that you are the child of God, if Allah is the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and you're living according to hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that's harm, not only is you not my brother, Allah is not your father. Your father is Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. Now let me share this with you, because we're talking about the European spirit. When I was a child, my mother took me down North Carolina. I went to a church with her in North Carolina, because the church that she went to, they would always visit other churches because she was really in the church, and I was a child. So when she took me down North Carolina, there was a big, beautiful church service going on. I mean, they were jumping up and shouting and doing everything. And while the service was going on, a brother collapsed. And when he collapsed, he passed. And my mother looked over and told me, she said, the Spirit of God is moving so beautiful that even if he had some faults and failings, he might be able to go straight to the heaven because of the Spirit that's moving about in this church. So when I come out the preparation centers, there was a brother by the name of Lynch-Bey. And I used to go by there to see Lynch-Bey because we come up through the same signs. And the same people that taught him taught me. So I used to go by the temple to see Lynch-Bey, and there was a brother that would always sit in the corner over there, and I looked at him, he looked away, I looked at his shoes. When you look at a man's shoes, you could tell the rest about him. So I said, okay, you're homeboy, and look at he look all right. And I did that a couple of times, but then I got a call one Saturday morning saying that the brother had spoke in the temple that night, and he had passed form. So I would always talk about this subject matter in this temple. I done talked about it on this show, etc. But what took place was, on my Facebook page, I seen a little dog, and his master was trying to grab a drink of wine, and the dog would hit his hand. Hit his hand if he's saying, you know, this ain't the right thing to do. So I talked to a sister that became my Facebook friend, not knowing of her husband, or not knowing that she knew Lynch-Bey. So she told me, she said, when you posted that on my page, it reminded me of brother Lynch-Bey, and it made me feel good. The reason why it made me feel good, because if you look on Facebook and social media, you'll see brothers and sisters that have Ills and Bays on their name. They got liquor in their hand, they got cigarettes in their hand, they got weed in their hand, and all the sisters that's supposed to be virtuous, she walk around with miniskirts and you can see the back of her behind. And they're all in the name of Jew Ali. So when that sister said that about Lynch-Bey, we talked about what Noble Jew Ali told them all. Because you know, you got a lot of brothers and you got a lot of sisters. We drink and we do everything that Jew Ali tell us to do. But in this Moorish Quran, the prophet tell us don't drink any wine or fiery drinks. So we don't have no leg to stand on. But when that sister said that and talked about Lynch-Bey, and then she told me who her husband was, then I said, praise Allah. So I wanted to say that because we need to understand that Drew Ali didn't ask for you, you asked for the prophet. Because we needed our nationality and our divine creed. And if you're a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, then do what Drew Ali say do. See, we got to follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain. No, we don't supposed to do those things. We are Muslims. A Muslim is one who submits his will to Allah. Now, I was telling Sister Lynch-Bey, I was talking to a sister, and I was telling her that one time we went to New Orleans, and we went down to New Orleans to have a meeting, and when we come back from New Orleans, the Grand Chief, a week later, he got knocked off and they put him in jail, and I got mad about that. I got mad about that because if you're not living according to the law, then don't come in my space. Don't come in my space because we're trying to follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. So we need to understand that man is not the body nor the soul. He's a spirit and a part of Allah. And Allah is working for man through man. That's why Drew Ali told us, he said, I can do more for you in the spirit than I can do in the flesh. So along with this same lesson, people been asking the chairman questions for the longest. Brother asked me today a question. He said, Lynch-Bey, he said, I'm joining the Moorish Science Temple, and every time I go somewhere, a brother asks me, am I with the prophet or who am I with? And when somebody asks you, are you with the prophet or who are you with, it don't make sense to me because there ain't nobody but one prophet. Drew Ali tells us about one prophet, one temple, and one nation. And let me explain this to you. Know what Drew Ali told the Moors. He said, I brought you everything that it takes to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. And when he did that, he was holding up a questionnaire and he was opening up a Quran. So now, in our questionnaire, we have 101 questions. The high over the low, the rich over the poor, and the wise over the ignorant. But on the back of your questionnaire is our authority. So if Drew Ali said, I brought you everything that it takes to save a nation and take it to save yourself, he was telling every member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, this authority right here is your authority. And you can use that. That's why he said it was the Border Temple or the Grand Major Temple. It's the form of the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and teach those things necessary to make our members better citizens. So now, we done went down there. We done went to the Secretary of State and done all of that. So if there was a temple, now this is deep because Jeremy Bay taught me this. If there was a temple that I would go to, see, I'm close to a lot of brothers. We got a book here that this young brother Lynch-Bey just came out with. We have a lot of good, strong men and women in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, how can we come together on the one here like the prophet left because everybody keeps talking about leadership and who we should be with? Well, when I first come in, back in the 70s, early 70s, 72, we was trying to find people to give us some kind of assistance with the prophet over Drew Ali because here in Portland, Oregon, this is something brand new to you. You think that this Moorish Science Temple is new, but this is the oldest Islamic movement in North America. Now, when you see the Moors and you see those who call themselves Sunnis or whatever other kind of Muslim organization, there's a difference. There's a great difference. And the difference is, Noble Drew Ali bought us a nationality. When you don't have, he asked us the question. When you get your nationality card, the Grand Sheikh will ask you something. He will say, who are you? You say, I'm an Asiatic Muslim. He said, Asiatic Muslim, why are you Asiatic Muslim? He said, but because there's two formulations, Asiatic and European. And I'm sure not European. He said, so you're Moorish man? He said, why are you Moorish man? Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. Now, who are these Moroccans? They are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Now, who are these Moabites? They're the biblical sons and daughters of Ham, one of the three sons of Noah, according to the biblical scripture. And this is why we are Hamitic by descent nature, by the way of Lot. Now, we talking about Hamitic, we're going back to the spirit, and we talking about the way of Lot, who was Abraham's nephew who led the people through Sodom and Gomorrah. So now you find Allah having to send Noble Drew Ali to this earth. and he had to send them because we was no place on earth. If you don't have a nationality, if you call yourself Negro, if you call yourself colored, or if you call yourself black, you have no place on earth. Because man today is what his forefathers were yesterday. And there's no one who is able to change man from the decent nature of his mother and father unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. So everybody want to know who in charge and who this. Or Lynch-Bey got something on his fairs and the rest of them is doing that. I like to give honor to Lynch-Bey. Because Drew Ali said, keep the doors open and I drive them in. And when you begin to talk about that Lynch-Bey administration, Brother Foster ill, Sister McCraig ill, Sister Rashida ill, the Moore-Bey family, and a few more is the reason why we don't even have pork in the Moorish Science Temple of America no more. So we talking about one being a Mason, one doing this, but we don't talk about our brothers that were gangsters. That's doing things in the Moorish Science Temple of America was diametrically opposed to what God say do, but we're going to talk about somebody else who kept the doors open. Or, and then I don't like it, I don't say that, but I'm from Washington, D.C. Jones Bay and all them dudes are my homeboy. I know they live in a morally clean life, but I talk to everybody across the country. You talk about everybody else around the country, but you don't talk about nobody in your city. You don't talk about nobody in your town. The dude that you come up with, you don't talk about their imperfections. You don't talk about inconstancy when it comes to them, but you can talk about everybody else. I give honor to them brothers. I give honor to them because there was a brother by the name of Lynch-Bey. Lynch-Bey opened up Temple 71. Him and Paul Hill was in the 13 ball head mold together. So we got a lot of work to do. We got to come together under one head like the prophet left it. Because until we do that, who are you with? Most of you got these big pretty charters. You're not even registered with the government. You got people running around talking about you don't need a driver's license. You need to be wiped away. But we ain't got the strength right now. We're trying to get this pile together. But the Moorish Science Temple of America is the place where you could come in heaven because Noble Drew Ali came. Now, people say, these Sunni Muslims, they say Noble Drew Ali can't be a prophet. They say that Muhammad is the last and the seal of the prophet. If that's the case, I wouldn't even believe in God. Because what kind of God would be a people that came through the Middle Passage, lost their nationality, and lost their divine creed, and law ain't gonna send us nobody? And you gonna honor those that they call themselves Arabs before you honor me. But those who call themselves Arabs are European. You seen Trump when he went over there the other day. If he had one of them things on his head, you couldn't tell the difference. They are European dealing with the Berlin Conference. So we have a lot of work to do here. And I'm honored because Noble Drew Ali came with the methodology to hook us back up with the family of nations. Nationality is the order of the day. You got to proclaim your nationality to be recognized by the nations of the earth. You have a nationality. Did not we have a national name when first brought to these shores in the early part of the 17th century? If so, what was it? So right now, if you're drinking and we doing all this kind of stuff, we got to leave it alone. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a heaven for men on earth. And Drew Ali brought us this. He brought us this to save us from the wrath of Allah. Another thing, we call each other Islam Mo. No. That come out the penitentiary. It's not Mo, it's Islam Moor. M-O-O-R. So when you address your brother, when you address your sister, you address them as Mo, not Mo, because if you say Mo, then when I see you, I'm going to look at you as curly and Larry, and that's being your man. So without further ado, I want to call a brother. Brother that been a benefit to this temple here. You know, brother that's paying his dues and keeping in line with all the necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm talking about our chairman right here. Because if he wasn't, we wouldn't be all right. You know, sister, man, you're acting too hard. I got to be myself. Because when you keep talking about you a Moorish American, but you don't have a dues card, you don't attend your meetings, you ain't taking care of your duties at home, you're not taking care of your responsibility, and you talking about you some more, you's a moron, chump. If you ain't doing what Drew Ali said, you can't serve two masters at the same time. You got to love one, and you have to despise the other. So right now, I want you to sit back and get your blessing right now. Because our chairman is getting ready to set your soul on fire with love and holy zeal, making you conscious of your mission to the sons of men. So without further ado, I'd like to call my brother and my friend, the chairman of this temple, Brother A. Bostonier.
Islam. Praise Allah. First of all, before I begin, I want to say it's been a while since we've been here. You know, we had a holiday season and the studio was closed down, but we're back alive and well. I want to say Happy New Year and Happy Moorish New Year to all the brothers and sisters around the country. Islam, I want to greet everybody in Islam. Islam is universal salutation. Islam means peace with yourself, peace with Allah, and peace with your fellow man. And Islam is a religion of peace, is what the Prophet Noble Ali taught us. I want to extend high honors to the Sheikh and opening up the show and opening up this circle, this meeting, according to the Circle 7 of Love, True Peace, Freedom, and Justice, as he always does. And but I want to talk about a little bit of something today. My subject matter is going to be dealing with self, because, you know, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, we are taught that the lesson is self, and it's about self. So I want to share with our Portland listening audience today on this broadcast how the Prophet Noble Ali has helped me in growing and developing as an individual. So I'm going to take a couple of readings out of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, as the custom in the Moorish Science Temple of America to do, and then I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit of what the Prophet has done for me since I've been in the Moorish Science Temple of America. And my first reading is going to come from chapter 48, the end of time and the fulfilling of the prophecies, and these are the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. And I'm going to begin at verse 6. And he says that we, as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. And I took that reading for a reason, but like I said, I wanted to share some personal things about what the Prophet Noble Ali has done for me since I've been a part of this national and divine movement. When I was growing up, you know, I've had a chance to go through some experiences. I've been in the military. I've been back and forth into the preparation centers and everything. But I want to say this is how Prophet Noble Ali helped me, because at the time where I was going through all these different experiences in my life, I did not understand what it was. What element in me was causing me to go through all these different experiences? Now, true enough, in the creation and fall of man, the Prophet Noble Ali, chapter 1 of our Moorish Holy Quran, he said that a multitude of lessons man must learn on the plane of soul, and here he tarries many ages until his lessons are all learned. And I knew I was going through these lessons in my life for a reason. But the thing that I was focusing on when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about tonight is I was thinking about these repetitious experiences that I've been going through all my life. You know, like I said, going back and forth to the preparation centers. You know, back in the day, I want to say the Sheikh mentioned a word that I think applies to everybody, because I don't think that I'm perfect. You know, I'm striving for perfection, but even though I've been in the Moorish Science Temple of America for as long as I have, I still have imperfections, and these are the things I'm working on. And these are the lessons, or it's what's aiding and assisting me to be able to grow and develop as a person, because I see that that I don't do the same things that I used to do. I don't hang out with the same people I used to hang out with, you know, and I don't, you know, that lifestyle that I lived. You know, they have a saying in the 12-step program. They say the definition of insanity was doing the same thing the same way and expecting different results. And over my lifetime, you know, and I praise the great God Allah that I'm here today because, you know, I just turned 59. I'll be 60 this year. And, you know, I feel blessed. And I know that I'm blessed, you know, because Allah is blessing me each and every day. Every day that I see on this top side of the earth is a blessing to me. So, you know, it gives me another day to work out my life sums, you know, because at the end of the day, what I want to do is, you know, I want to be in a situation where my good deeds outweigh my bad deeds. Now, this is what I want to talk about today, because I want to talk about this repetition. You know, we all go through these different repetitious experiences, you know, go back and forth to prison, man. We, you know, we in a relationship, we constantly, you know, 1 minute we there, the next minute we ain't, you know, we with somebody else. We haven't did anything to establish unto ourselves a methodology to be able to let the things of the lower self go and start reaching for this higher self, this Allah and man. You know, and you know, when I grew up, you know, they had TV programs that talked about, you know, the devil made me do it. I'm pretty sure y'all remember Flip Wilson. You know, the devil made me do it. You know, but my own devil. You know, I'm fighting my own devil. I can't grasp the concept that there is a physical devil, because, like the Sheikh was saying earlier, and the lesson teaches in the Holy Quran, it says that man is not the body nor the soul, he is a spirit and a part of Allah. And then we also learn that thought is the cause of it all. You know, we've heard before that in the beginning was the word. Now, in the beginning wasn't the word. In the beginning was the thought, because the thought created the word. So, you know, but going through these different experiences, and I got to looking at this past year, at the end of 2017, you know, the Sheikh asked me a question. He said, Mo, you gonna make any resolutions this year? And I said, you know what, Mo, I'm just gonna kind of take it day for day. But resolution is important. You know, everybody make resolutions at the beginning of the year. They say, oh, I'm gonna quit smoking, I'm gonna quit drinking, I'm gonna quit partying so much, I'm gonna quit doing this, I'm gonna quit doing that. So I want to talk about resolution tonight, but I want to talk about this other element that's involved to help us understand and get to the point where we can use resolution to be able to solve our problems and our conflicts that we are having with self. Because remember, the lesson itself was to go in the wilderness, as they did in Jesus did in chapter 15 of the Most Holy Quran. He went into the wilderness for self-examination. So we get to the point where we need to realize that that our own situations, our own conditions are caused by the thoughts that we think it, because our actions and behavior, see, it doesn't start with our actions and behavior. Everybody thinks, you know, just because you act a certain way, you know, or you behave a certain way, you know, that's the primary source that that has you on this whole other side. But it's the thought, because the thought from the thoughts come the actions, and from the actions come the behavior. So, and you know, when I start looking at myself and then start studying myself and studying the Prophet's teachings, and say, what can I do about this? Why do I keep going back and forth? Why keep, you know, it just seems like you know, continually starting over, you know. And then he has a lesson in that applies to that, where he says the wise man continue to live from the first period, the fool is always beginning. So I've been a fool 1,000,000 times over, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm learning how to be more consistent with myself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not about being consistent with anybody else. Because once I'm consistent with myself and I'm doing the things necessary to grow and develop as a person, you know what I'm saying? And then other people start to rely on me. So we have lessons that deal with that too. But this is what I want to say, because this resolution, we talking about this resolution. Let's talk about the many times that we going through these different experiences and going through these, going through these different situations in our life. You know, we having relationship issues, we having job issues, you know, we having financial issues. So, you know, everybody have their own, you know, pretty much have a lot of things that they're dealing with. So I want to talk about inconstancy and this going back. So my main subject matter, I'm talking about inconstancy tonight. And so I want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about instability. I'm going to talk about the remedy that the Prophet gave to me in these holy and divine instructions in his Most Holy Quran, and how it enabled me to uplift myself from the unwholesome depths of misery, suffering, and death. You know, and then he has here in chapter 40 Holy instruction from the prophet, the instability of man, because you know your inconstancy causes your inconstancy causes you to be unstable. It causes your instability. So he says here in verse 1, he says inconstancy is powerful in the heart of man. So what is inconstancy? Inconstancy is the quality or state of being inconstant. And so when we look at the word inconstant, when we look at being inconstant, we look at our behavior and our situations are subject to change frequently without apparent reason. You know, so we start looking at that was why I keep going through this same situation, because you haven't established a firm foundation. And the firm foundation starts with changing your thought pattern. See what I'm saying? Because let's go back to what I said before. It said thought is the cause of it all. So, you know, in order to change your conditions, in order to change your situation, in order to change your experiences in life and the things that you go through, you have to develop a firm foundation in your mind. And that's what these lessons do. These lessons allow you to look deep within yourself to see where you at and to see what you need to do. Because sometimes, you know, you got to let some things go. But when you let things go, you have to put something in its place. You see what I'm saying? So I give praises to the great God Allah that he sent the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali to aid and assist me. Not only did he bring me nationality and divine creed, but he brought me governing, but he also brought me the most important thing is lessons that I can use to enhance myself. So he says inconstancy is powerful in the heart of man. And then he has another verse here that says intemperance. This is in the same verse. It says intemperance swayeth it whither it will. Despair engrosseth much of it, and fear proclaimeth, behold, I sit unrivaled therein, but vanity is beyond them all. So when we're talking about this inconstant nature, you know, keep doing the same thing the same way and expecting different results. And the only way that you're going to have different results in your life is you got to change your thinking. Because when you change your thinking, your actions will change and your behavior will be different. You know, and this is what I like about the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings, you know, is allowing me to be able to, you know, eliminate some of these foes that I'm fighting, because these are the lessons that I'm learning is the foes that I'm fighting in my life, you know, dealing with this inconstancy and not able to stay firm with a decision. You know, he tells us that once we develop that, once we do that and become in a position or a situation where our behavior is steady and is constant, then people start to rely and trust on us. You know, and I went through this situation, you know, as I said, you know, in my lifetime, my experience of, you know, going back and forth to the preparation centers to, you know, and then I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision, and this decision that I had to make was I going to keep doing this, or was I going to develop a firm foundation on which to build my life from that point on? And the last time that I went to a preparation center was I was released in September 2006, and I moved up here to the Pacific Northwest, and I finished it out, you know, got all paper. I don't have to report to nobody. You know, I don't need a travel permit to travel anywhere. I'm on business, you know, so it's all, you know, it's all, I got to give all the credit to the great God Allah for sending the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Now let's talk about this intemperance that he mentioned in the verse, because he said inconstancy is powerful in the heart of man, intemperance swayeth it whither it will. And it's this intemperance that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is talking to us about in this lesson deals with lack of moderation. Now the Sheikh always say, you know, the prophets say that if you're gonna do a thing, if you do it with moderation, then it's gonna always be in your possession. But you know what? There's a lot of times there's gonna come a time in your life, as the older you get, the more settled you're gonna become with yourself. And I'm at the point now that I'm satisfied with my life. You know, I love my life, and I love what Allah has blessed me with and given me up to this point in my life. But I know, like I said, I still have imperfections. I'm not perfect, but I'm striving for perfection. So that's all a part of just me coming along and doing as the prophet instructs, being obedient to the word of God Allah that He sent through His prophets, because we have a question in the Quran questionnaire. It said, what is the everlasting gospel? And the everlasting gospel is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient forefathers by His prophet. So, you know, when we start really getting off into the lessons, because I had to take these lessons and work on myself. It's not about me focusing on somebody else or being in somebody else's business and worrying about what they doing. Because the Prophet Noble Ali teaches me, he said, the man who spends his time in pulling other people's weeds can have no time to pull their own. So if I put myself in a situation where I'm always concerned about somebody else's business, not govern my own station, you know, then something's wrong with that picture. Something in the milk ain't white. So, you know, like we say, the lesson itself. So that's what we need to be working on. So that's why I'm teaching from the book tonight. I'm teaching from a personal experience, because I believe when you start talking to people about your own personal experiences, there's somebody out there that can relate to that experience because they done been through it. You know, I've been through a number of different relationships, you know, but I'm just waiting on my Father God Allah. He's gonna bring me my Eve, you know. But right now I'm in a situation where I'm working on myself. So, you know, then he says, despair engrosseth much of it. And through our intemperance, through this lack of moderation for our behavior and our thought pattern and our actions to be inconstant, you know, we get to the point where we have an utter loss of hope. And that's what despair is, an utter loss of hope. And so that, you know, how do we do that? How do we get from this point to this next point? How do we move to this next level on the ladder? How do we move through that? We need something. We need something to help us with that. And the Prophet Noble Ali brought that to us. Now, I'm gonna go on a little bit more. I'm gonna summarize on what I'm getting ready to talk about. And I'm gonna end it on out and call Ashik back on the show. In chapter 41 of our Moorish Holy Quran, page 50, Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, he says this. He says, nature urgeth thee to inconstancy, O man. Therefore guard thyself at all times against it. But see, then he also says in his lesson, he said, those who gave thee a body furnished it with weakness, but he who gave thee a soul armed thee with resolution. And resolution, what is a resolution? A resolution is a firm decision to do something or not to do something. So that's where I'm at in my life today. You know, I'm praising Allah each and every day for the marvelous blessings that He had brought to me. I praise Him most of all for sending us the Holy Prophet Noble Ali to help me get myself back on track. Because the things I used to do, I don't do no more. The people I used to hang out with, I don't hang out with no more. And so with that, I want to say, may Allah continue to bless you all. It's a pleasure being back. And with that, I'm going to say peace. I'm going to call the Sheik back on.
Praise Allah, Mo.
Praise Allah, Sheik.
Man, I was in there just now inside the booth in there, and the brother told me to tell you more, not Mo. You know the Mo told you that. Chris said that was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, when I've been listening to Brother Boston Hill, and he teaching. And the reason why he teaching so strong is because this is temple 2 up here. The only strength that Satan has is the strength that we give him. Satan is an illusion. You know how you said the devil made you do it? And I kept saying that so many years. Satan grabbed me in my car and said, let me tell you something, chump. I ain't make you do nothing. I called you and you came. So Noble Ali gave us a lesson, because you know you begin to talk about Jesus, you're talking about the house of David. So there was a brother by the name of David. And this brother David reminded me of the lesson that Boston Hill was teaching today. Because David was a good brother. And he always tried to walk with God. But there was a dude that went to school with him, that big dude that tried to take advantage of him, name was Goliath. So David and Goliath got to rumbling. And David couldn't whip Goliath, so he went and got a slingshot. And he hit Goliath in the head and killed him. That's your higher self, and that's your lower self. Your David is your higher self. David is justice, mercy, love, and right. Your Goliath is your lower self, is your carnal self, is your body of desires distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. So the only strength that Satan has is the strength that we give him. Yeah, we got the lower self. But I don't care what about your lower self. Certain things you just don't do anyway. If you say that you're trying to walk that straight and narrow path, some things in your life you just don't do, you're going to cut off. Stop using Satan for an excuse. You are of that attribute. You are of that ether. You are Satan when you do satanic things. See, because the book tells us the nearest place to meet God is in the heart of a mind. So if you meet God in the heart of your mind, then he exists. So Satan don't exist. If you let him in, then he exists. But we so strong here, we tell him, Satan, look at chump, don't he come around here. I used to tell Satan all the time, say, chump, if you be good, I'll read my Quran to you today. Because Satan, you need to come to the temple too. See, because the higher self and the lower self is a different ether. You can't be both of them. You can't serve two masters at the same time. You have to love one and you have to despise the other. And we're learning these lessons now so we could be a benefit. The most say he's waiting on a woman. Man, I seen this beautiful sister. And I'm going to tell you about her later on. I'm not going to tell you about this beautiful sister now. But this sister is so beautiful. And her name is already heard. And I thank God for the conversations, because Jew Ali tells us to take unto thyself a wife and obey the ordinance of Allah. Take unto thyself a wife and become a faithful member of the society. But examine with care and fix not subtly, because on thy present choice depends thy future happiness. But we know that it's first in your home, then the community, and to the world. And Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and Confucius are of the same reincarnated thoughts. So when you see brothers and sisters talking derogatory about other grand bodies or other people, you know what that means? That's Satan in disguise. Because if you can't say nothing good about somebody, don't say nothing about them at all. Because all of us going through all the ways of life, there are trials and tribulations that we all got to go through. None of us is perfect. But through the teachings of the prophet, we could overcome and be just like Jew Ali, you know, of that spirit. So what I want to do now, I ain't heard a song in a while. So, you know, we sing in the Morris Science Temple because angels sing. So at this time, I want our Portland listening audience to hear from our chairman when he sing after I recite the Moorish American prayer. So at this time, I'll recite the Moorish American prayer, the source from which we draw our strength, and you get a chance to hear our chairman. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen.
The things I used to do, I don't do no more. The things I used to do, I don't do no more. The things I used to do, I don't do no more. There's been a great change since I've been born. The places I used to go, I don't go no more. Well, the places I used to go, I don't go no more. The places I used to go, I don't go no more. There's been a great change since I've been born.
Friends I used to have, I don't have no more. Well, those friends I used to have, I don't have no more. Well, those friends I used to have, I don't have no more. There's been a great change since I've been born.
The friends I used to have, I don't have no more. Well, the friends I used to have, I don't have no more. Well, the friends I used to have, I don't have no more. There's been a great change since I've been born. The ways I used to act, I don't act no more. Well, the way I used to act, I don't act no more. Well, the way I used to act, I don't act no more. There's been a great change since I've been born. The thoughts I used to think, I don't think no more. Well, the thoughts I used to think, I don't think no more. Well, the thoughts I used to think, I don't think no more. There's been a great change since I've been born.
Praise Allah, more. I'd like to give on to the brother Chadwick, but we want you to hear the language of an angel. You know, the Morris Science Temple of America. You know, whenever a nation is in need for a prophet, Allah will send one. He sent a prophet to America because we here needed to proclaim our nationality. Because if you don't have a nationality, you have no place on earth. Everybody on earth have a nationality except the so-called Negro, colored, and black. Negro is a name given to a river in West Africa by Moors because it contained black water. Black, according to science, means death. See? And death. So now we say black. Marcus Garvey had a flag. The UNIA. But it's red, black, and green. But his national flag was the flag of Jamaica because he was born in St. Ann's Bay, Jamaica. So here in America, you are of Moorish descent because you had a national name when first brought to these shores in the early part of the 17th century. So see how Allah working more?
Yes, sir.
Allah is working in our life, man.
That's right.
And I heard what you just said about the trials and tribulations that you went through. You went in incarceration and you came home because, see, the will of man make possible the actions of the Holy Breath.
That's what he said.
And when the will of Allah and the will of man become one, then the resurrection is a fact.
That's right.
You have somebody pass in your family. When somebody passes in your family, what is there? A will. See? And the will, you might get a car, you might get a house, you might get some money, but Allah gave all of us a will too.
That's right.
And the will that he gave us is the will to choose.
That's right.
And what brothers and sisters fell around when Noble Jew Ali came. When he came to us, he brought us the Moorish Holy Quran. He brought us the 18 years that's missing in the Holy Bible.
That's right.
See, it tells you the chapter that I read today, chapter 17. They say you talk about Jesus when he was 12 and talk no more about him until he become 33. Where was he at during those 18 years?
That's right.
One of the places was in Europe, teaching the Europeans.
That's right.
So now, Jew Ali talking about the spirit. He said, what spirit are you? So can a European be a Muslim?
No. Yeah.
How do that? Because all he have to do is submit his will. So we got a will to choose.
That's right.
So we got to give our will a willing sacrifice.
That's
we
right.
can overcome whatever we want.
That's right.
And if you can't overcome it, then you Ali say he was at a meeting one day, and a whole lot of people were sitting there. You know what the prophet said? He said, "What are all you people doing here?" He said, "Because there's only be a few saved. And I can count it on one hand and still have fingers left over."
That's right.
So I'm telling you that we got to overcome. See, we got to give up all those things, all those associations. We got to give ourselves to him. Because everybody want to talk about unity. But before we can come in unity, you first must come in unity with God.
That's right.
It's a U-N-I tie. You got to tie with God before you can talk to follow humanity.
That's right.
See, and the nearest place to meet him is in the heart.
That's right.
I'm not talking about the heart that pump blood. Because the flesh don't think and the bones don't read.
That's
so
right.
we have to become one with God. And when you do that, then you helping follow humanity.
That's right.
So how did the prophet get to uplift the Moorish American? By teaching them to be themselves. So now we follow humanity. But he lifted us up.
That's right.
He said, rise up. He said, wake up. See, when you wake up, that means you were asleep.
That's right.
You know, I remember the president said this one time. He seen a little Asiatic laying there over one of the presidents. Seen a little brother laying on the truck sleep. And he said, well, when that sleeping giant wake up, we're going to be in trouble. So we are the sleeping giant. We are the one that the builders rejected. We are the ones.
That's right.
We are the ones who lost our birthright.
That's right.
See, nobody in the history of mankind lost the birthright other than you and me.
That's right.
When you look at your nationality card, it says birthright. You're talking about Esau and Jacob, the two brothers, sold their birthright out.
That's right.
So we need to understand that another part of mental slavery is making you think that you got to go back to Saudi Arabia. Because when you begin to talk about Saudi Arabia, they came through the seed of Hagar. Hagar looked just like you and me.
That's right.
And Noble was on the scene and gave us lessons. All the ancient Arabs look just like you and me. All the Arabs over there, European.
Yeah.
Just like when you look at Morocco. The Moors are not in Morocco. What Morocco are you talking about? Are you talking about French Morocco? Or are you talking about Spanish Morocco? Drew gave us the key.
That's
he
right.
gave us the methodology that help us save ourselves.
That's
and
right.
I appreciate you because I see your growth and development.
Yes,
And the only strip Satan have is the strip that we give him, man.
That's right.
So we got to walk with the prophet.
That's right.
We got to walk with the prophet
That's
and
right.
give our life a willing sacrifice. We got to let that will. Let thy will be done. In the church, how they say the Lord's Prayer,
Yeah.
let thy
Right.
will be done on earth as it is done in heaven. Now we keep looking for heaven in the sky. Allah never made a heaven for man. He never made a hell. We are creators and make our own. So we got to make heaven right here on earth.
That's right.
And we make heaven on earth by living according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. See, all you got to do is call him.
That's it.
All you got to do is call the Father, and he gives you what you want.
That's right.
I call him my Father because I'm trying to live the principle that he gives me, which is love, truth, peace, freedom,
That's
and
right.
justice.
That's right.
I done lived that over there. I done been there.
Yeah.
I done done that.
Yeah.
Now, what did he bring me? It brought me unrest, misery, and death. So just like when you see the dry bones in the valley walking around like they're living, see, you're living if you're living according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If you're not living according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, then you're a dead thing.
Yeah.
So like right now, we got a few more minutes, brother. Sing again, please. This little light of mine or something.
Wade in the water. Wade in the water, Muslims wade.
Wade
in the water. Drew Ali done trouble the water. I said wade in the water. Wade in the water, Muslims wade in the water. 'Cause Drew Ali done troubled the waters. Well, who are those Muslims all dressed in green? Jolly done troubled the waters. Well, it must be the Muslim that Drew redeemed. Jolly done troubled the waters. I say, wade in the water. Wade in the water, Muslims away. It in the water. Drew Ali done troubled the water. Well, who are those Muslims all dressed in white?
Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classified as undesirables and are subjugated to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens